1. Introduction. The number one mistake Havanese owners make when addressing barking is treating all barking the same way. There are actually 5 distinct types of barking in this breed, and using the wrong approach for each type can make the problem significantly worse. In today's training guide, I'll help you identify which type of barking your Havanese is displaying, from territorial alerts to attention-seeking vocalizations. Then I'll show you the specific, targeted techniques that address each type effectively without causing additional stress or anxiety for your sensitive companion. 2. The 5 types of Havanese barking. Decoding your dog's vocal language. Your Havanese isn't just making noise. They're speaking a complex language you might be missing completely. When your fluffy companion barks, they're actually communicating specific needs, emotions, or responses to their environment. Learning to distinguish between these different vocal signals is like unlocking a secret code that transforms your relationship with your pet. Think of your Havanese's barking as their primary form of verbal communication. While we often lump all barking together as a single behavior, these intelligent dogs actually use distinct barking patterns for different purposes. Misinterpreting these signals is one of the biggest mistakes Havanese owners make, often leading to frustration for both of you. When you address the wrong issue, your training efforts can actually backfire, reinforcing the unwanted behavior rather than resolving it. Let's start with the alert or territorial bark. When your Havanese delivers short, sharp barks as someone approaches your home, they're not being difficult, they're doing their job. This watchdog instinct is deeply ingrained in the breed, dating back to their history as companion dogs who would alert their families to visitors. These barks are typically focused and purposeful, acting as their version of a doorbell to let you know something has changed in their environment. Then there's the attention-seeking bark, which has a completely different sound and purpose. This bark is repetitive and insistent, continuing until you acknowledge your dog. The tricky part is that even negative attention reinforces this behavior. When you shout "quiet" or show frustration, your Havanese may interpret this as achieving their goal of getting your attention, accidentally training them to bark more often. Anxiety barking, particularly separation-related vocalizations, sounds distinctly different. This high-pitched, persistent bark often accompanies pacing when your Havanese feels stressed or abandoned. This isn't manipulation. It's a genuine expression of distress that requires compassionate intervention rather than traditional training. When your Havanese is bursting with excitement, they produce rapid, higher-pitched barks, often while jumping or spinning around. This typically happens during play or when visitors arrive. This isn't misbehavior, but rather an overflow of positive emotion that needs channeling into more appropriate expressions. Finally, there's the monotonous, rhythmic barking that signals boredom or frustration. This occurs when your intelligent, social Havanese lacks adequate physical or mental engagement. This type of barking essentially means, "I'm bored and need something to do," a call for enrichment rather than discipline. 3. Common triggers and prevention. Stopping barking before it starts. What seems like random, unstoppable barking from your Havanese actually follows specific patterns tied to their environment. The surprising truth is that by simply managing your dog's exposure to certain triggers, many owners have reduced barking by 50% without a single training session. Prevention is truly the most effective approach when it comes to managing your Havanese's barking behavior. Instead of constantly reacting to barking after it starts, which can be frustrating for both you and your furry friend, identifying and addressing the underlying triggers gives you a proactive advantage. This shift in strategy allows you to create a more peaceful home environment without the stress of constantly correcting your dog. Many Havanese owners unknowingly reinforce the very behaviors they're trying to eliminate. For example, rushing to comfort your anxious dog when they bark might actually reward and strengthen that unwanted behavior. This creates a frustrating cycle where your attempts to solve the problem are actually making it worse. Your Havanese's territorial instincts are often triggered by predictable events throughout the day. Mail carriers, delivery people, and neighbors passing by your windows all create patterns that your dog quickly learns to anticipate. These territorial alerts aren't random. They're your Havanese fulfilling what they believe is their duty to protect your home. Separation anxiety represents another significant trigger category for Havanese barking. These social, people-oriented dogs can become extremely distressed when left alone, especially if they weren't properly socialized during puppyhood. This anxiety manifests as persistent barking that continues long after you've left home, often to the dismay of your neighbors. Your Havanese is also constantly monitoring their environment for changes. Sudden noises, unfamiliar objects, or disruptions to their normal household routine can all spark barking episodes. Their sensitive nature means even subtle environmental shifts that you barely notice might seem significant to your dog. The social nature of Havanese makes them particularly responsive to social triggers. Visitors entering your home, children playing nearby, or other dogs walking past can all provoke barking as your Havanese either expresses excitement or tries to alert you to these social interactions. Fortunately, there are practical prevention techniques that can dramatically reduce these triggers. Installing semi-transparent window film allows light in while obscuring your dog's view of passing threats outside. Creating calm, low-key departure routines helps minimize separation anxiety, while background noise from a television or radio can mask sudden sounds that might otherwise trigger barking. Baby gates can be particularly effective by restricting your Havanese's access to high-trigger areas like front windows or entry doors. Creating a designated quiet space with comfortable bedding, calming scents, and appropriate toys gives your dog a sanctuary when they're feeling overwhelmed by potential triggers. The three-step training method. Transforming your vocal Havanese environmental management is only half the solution. Your Havanese also needs clear communication about what behaviors should replace barking. The training method I'm about to share targets the Havanese's intelligent, sensitive nature with a three-step approach that most owners miss entirely. While many jump straight to corrections when their dog barks, this approach creates confusion and anxiety in your Havanese companion. Instead, let's focus on building a communication system that makes sense to your dog before expecting them to change their vocal habits. Step 1 begins with the focus exercise, teaching your Havanese to make eye contact on command. This seemingly simple skill creates the foundation for all future training success. When your dog learns to look at you on cue, you establish a connection that makes redirecting their attention from triggers much easier later on. Start in a quiet room by holding a treat near your eyes, saying "look" or "watch me," and immediately rewarding your Havanese when they make eye contact. Gradually increase the duration of eye contact before delivering the reward, and practice in progressively more distracting environments. Moving to step 2, we implement the quiet command through positive reinforcement. The timing here is crucial. Wait for a natural pause in your Havanese's barking. Immediately say "quiet" in a calm, firm tone. Then reward them for that moment of silence. Many owners make the mistake of shouting the command while their dog is actively barking, which only adds to the noise and confusion. Instead, start with controlled practice sessions where you create mild triggers for barking. Wait for a pause, then reward the quiet behavior. This teaches your Havanese that silence leads to positive outcomes. The redirect technique forms the critical middle step that most training programs overlook. When you notice your Havanese about to bark, immediately redirect them to an incompatible behavior, something they physically cannot do while barking. This might be fetching a specific toy, going to their bed, or performing a trick they enjoy. The key is consistency in your redirection cue, and ensuring the alternative behavior is both rewarding and physically incompatible with barking. For step 3, establish the consistency protocol throughout your household. All family members must respond uniformly to barking instances using identical commands, redirections, and reward systems. This consistency prevents your intelligent Havanese from learning that certain family members will tolerate or even reward barking, while others won't. Create a simple chart outlining the specific responses to each barking type and ensure everyone follows it to prevent sending mixed messages to your dog. The most effective way to immediately address attention-seeking barking is through the redirect and reward method. When your Havanese barks for attention, wait for even the briefest moment of quiet. Then immediately redirect them to a preferred behavior and reward that instead. This powerful technique teaches your dog that sitence, not barking, is what earns your valuable attention. 5. Conclusion. As we wrap up today's guide, remember that patience is your greatest ally in this journey with your Havanese. Every bark is their attempt to communicate something they perceive as important. Your role is to guide them toward more appropriate ways of expression through consistent, calm leadership. The good news? You won't be waiting months to see results. With dedicated daily practice of the techniques we've covered, most Havanese show noticeable improvement in their barking behavior within just 7 to 10 days. This quick progress helps strengthen the bond between you and your dog, as you both learn to better understand each other's needs. Understanding your Havanese's communication style isn't just about reducing noise. It's about deepening your connection with this loving companion. Join us next time when we tackle separation anxiety in the Havanese breed, a common challenge for these devoted little dogs who form such strong attachments to their families.